Mary, all alone in the moonlight, I can dream of the old days. Life was beautiful then.
Oh, hey friends, I was just putting some acts on. With a solid understanding of what learning is and the physiology behind it, most people want to know if it really counts as learning if you forget it as soon as you've learned it. That's a complicated question for which there's no simple answer. What do you think? The general answer, most people would consider you smarter or better at something if you retain the knowledge or skill. In other words, we want to keep firing up those neurons and making the same connections over and over again, along with new ones, so that we can eventually make that learning permanent. So, the ultimate goal in learning is to move the things that we want to learn farther away from the short-term memory and closer to long-term or lifetime memory. Let's look at the human memory diagram, and I'll put some more acts on. Scientists break memory into three categories to make learning about the brain easier. Let's start with sensory memory. Sensory memory is the shortest term element of memory. It's the ability to retain impressions of sensory information after the original stimuli have ended. It acts as a kind of buffer for stimuli received through the five senses of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, which are retained accurately but briefly. For example, the ability to look at something and remember things about it with just a short observation is an example of sensory memory. Let's try it. I'm going to show you a video of people passing a basketball, and I want you to count the number of passes that the players wearing white make. The house with the most students getting the number of passes correct will get 10 extra house points. Are you ready? I need you to focus. And go.
Count how many times the players wearing white passed the ball.
Tell your teacher how many you counted. Teacher, please pause the video until you have tallied everyone's answers. Now that you've tallied your answer for passes, how many people noticed the gorilla walk across the screen? Please tally your answers to that question. Teachers, please pause the video until you get the answers for the gorilla question. Now let's see how many people noticed that the curtain changed colors. Teachers, please press pause until you get the answer to the curtain question. And finally, how many people noticed the player in black leaving the screen? And finally, teachers, please press pause until you get all the tallies for that final question. Let's finish watching the rest of the video.
The correct answer is 16 passes. Did you spot the gorilla? For people who haven't seen or heard about a video like this before, about half missed the gorilla. If you knew about the gorilla, you probably saw it. But did you notice the curtain changing color or the player on the black team leaving the game? Let's rewind and watch it again. Here comes the gorilla, and there goes a player, and the curtain is changing from red to gold. When you're looking for a gorilla, you often miss other unexpected events. And that's the monkey business illusion. Learn more about this illusion and the original gorilla experiment at theinvisiblegorilla.com.
All right, let's stop monkeying around and recap. Mention sensory memory to the average person, and they are likely to think of the smell of their grandmother's perfume or their ability to remember the words to songs. But that's not what sensory memory is. Sensory memory is the area of memory where all of the information that enters our consciousness on a constant and automatic basis through the five senses is first experienced. We have no control over these experiences. They are just raw data that our brains take in through our senses. Each sensation is stored in its own separate sensory modality for only the briefest period of time. The question of whether it is stored in short-term memory is a question of whether that data that has been taken in is relevant. If it is important enough to hold on to, then it's transferred into our working or short-term memory, where it can be encoded and rehearsed for later retrieval. What is not relevant deteriorates in a matter of seconds and is pruned away. Now, study this map and be ready for your quiz tomorrow. Just kidding. See you tomorrow.